Imagine a world where every individual, regardless of their past, has the opportunity to contribute meaningfully to society.
The start of this program was with a man named Will Ellaby and myself when we were first talking about doing work in the prisons and trying to work more on the Fair Chance program. I said, we were talking about our equipment that we had, and I said, it's actually kind of small, and it would be kind of crazy if we ever brought that in there. He's like, well, we could do that. And this is literally one of the first conversations we had. So it was kind of like very premature, but it sort of planted the seed in my mind that would be a possible thing that we could do.
JBM's training program at London Correctional Institution provides valuable skills, fair wages, and a path to employment after release. The hiring process for program apprentices is important so that we find those best fit for long-term placement at JBM.
We're looking for someone with good mechanical aptitude, someone on our machines that knows CNC controls, has somewhat of an electrical background. So there's a lot of different trades that come into one position here to be able to run and maintain our equipment.
So the same machines that we have at JBM in Lebanon are the same machines that we have up at London. So they're able to get familiar with those machines, learn all of the parts, learn the envelope terminology. So these guys are coming in, they already speak the lingo, they already know the parts of the machine. And what we train them on is we train them how to do changeovers on the machines. So they change the machine from beginning to end, depending upon the different size of envelope. And there's 8 levels of training. So as they pass level 1, they move on to level 2. It gets a little bit more difficult. By the time they pass level 8, they pretty much know the ins and outs of how to do a changeover on our machines. From then on, it's basically they need to learn how to troubleshoot and how to keep a machine up and running.
My routine there was basically you get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, go to breakfast, go to work, go back for a count, go back to work, and back and forth each day. I did the program, it was about 6 months, and it was eight tests that you had to go through each level to pass. Luckily, I went through them, but it was very hard. And but Mike Waters was a great trainer. He taught me a lot for a foundation for me to build off of, so whenever I come here, that I would have a better chance to be more productive for the company.
So a day in JBM training is we come in and we do table talk. Then I'll walk them over to the machine and look at the components and tell them what the responsibility is and show how to troubleshoot in those situations.
So first thing we do when we come down, we get our tools out from our boss, Mr. Meinert. We get all tools got to be checked in and out every day. They got to be inventoried every time we leave. They got to keep a visual account of the tools because that's a big thing in prison. They can't let loose tools go anywhere, right? So we get our tools out and we come back here, and I usually start by making a cup of coffee, and we talk over it. Mike, my trainer, is big on table talk, so we'll sit down and we'll talk about different problems we're encountering on the machines or with specific styles of envelopes, because there's a whole range of different envelopes, right?
My role is to pass the skills on that JBM has inquired in me. They've actually trained me, and I'm actually passing those skills on, and I try to make them guys better than me, because if I don't, then I fail my job as being the trainer. So, I try to pass those skills on and give them the soft skills to work into this environment. And the first thing I love for them to do is to fail. And the reason is why I want them to fail is because nobody's perfect. And so we got that out of the way. Now can we actually really get to the crux of you becoming a good adjuster?
The program in prison prepared me for the job, just really got me familiar with the machines. I was able to work on them, 6 to 8 hours a day, run through their training modules. Yeah, so I got familiarized. I had about 10 months of working on the machines before I came to JBM, officially.
It's like anybody on the street. They want a foundation, they want money in the bank. I think I heard a statistic recently that said 80% of Americans don't even have $5,000 in their bank account. And I'm like, well, wow, when I go home, I could have close to 50,000. So that's a good foundation. That makes me feel good. It gives me more options. It allows me to put a down payment on a home, a car, just all these things that really add to my support. And that wouldn't be possible without JBM. So to make that wage here in prison it's big. It's life-changing, because that restores some of my dignity. It really makes me feel like, I'm in prison and I'm a taxpayer, right? That's awesome, right? That's like so awesome. And then the wages that we get to save to go home with and really give a foundation to our start. So yeah, it's big. It is an amazing program to bring to prison. And that's one thing about the prisons. There's so many people that are ready to make a change in their life, but they don't have that bridge. They don't have that opportunity to really start growing and move up. And that's what JBM's providing.
The average state pay for guys that work in the kitchen is between $20 and $40, depending on their position in there. So it's like a major pay raise coming to work out here, of course. You get paid by the hour. You know, it's close to minimum wage. There's a lot of financial security in that. And for guys like me, that's been a reason of my downfall in the past is, you know, financial ruin and things of that nature. So it's just like, it gives you hope at the end of the day. Well, I tell you, it'll go a far way of setting me up for real success when I get out. It's like, I don't really have to come up with the means little by little. I'll have a big lump sum of money that I'll earn while in this program to, you know, do the things that I need to do to straighten my life up, you know. And it's just like, that's a major relief. And I can concentrate on, you know, just being a better son, being a better father, being a better worker, instead of having to worry how to make ends meet. How am I going to get my license back? How am I going to pay for this? How am I going to pay for that? And it's just like, it's huge, you know?
Without JBM, it would be very tough. JBM was able to pay me minimum wage what time I was incarcerated at LOCI. That allowed me to accumulate almost $5,000 whenever I left the place. So it was a big opportunity for me to buy my clothes, my phone, all the necessities that I needed whenever I first got released.
Part of JBM's investment in this program is the commitment to providing life coaching support as they begin to plan for life after prison while navigating day-to-day challenges inside the walls.
Some of the biggest challenges we've had with the development of our apprenticeship program, I'd say it's in 3 different areas. One is to be inside the prison and have an effective program, we really need to have a experienced trainer. And so we've been able to develop that person over many years. And then more recently, we did transfer within the Ohio Correctional Facilities our apprenticeship program to a new location, and luckily we were able to retain our trainer through the process as well. So just the whole move in itself has been a challenge, and we made the move because the new facility we're in is going to allow us to grow more.
A challenge maybe most people don't expect is a personality clash. You know, so if somebody comes in and they're very headstrong and want to do things my way, you know, it can be difficult at first for our trainer to kind of, okay, how am I going to handle this person? Nothing that Mike can't handle. I've seen him work with all kinds of people, but I've just seen some different experiences where it's been harder for him to work with certain people than others. It takes a little bit of time to get the guys to trust him because they see him as just another inmate.
At JBM Packaging, there's a shared vision to live by the company's core values, and team members across the organization strive to demonstrate each value in day-to-day operations.
It's an honor to be able to see JBM and DRC to put this program together to give us opportunity to promote the idea that we got realistic jobs inside of Wawa. Get minimum wage. It's amazing. I mean, to be able to have that opportunity, it's an honor. It's a privilege to be able to work with JBM to promoting this ideal that we're not worthless. You know, we got real jobs. We're doing something that's real. It's not just make-believe. And just, so it's an honor. You know, it's an honor. It's an honor to have life coaches. You know, we got Jackie, amazing. She's like my champion. And then we got Amanda at the spearhead that's it's been somebody in my corner from a long time. From day one she met me, she said, Mike, I had chill bumps on me. You know, you was a powerful speaker, your words are so powerful. So to have her on my team, have them guys supporting me and rooting for me, is an honor. It's definitely an honor.
So each meeting, they come in and we go through, their goals. We go through what their stressors are. We really start off by just talking about their week. How's things been? What's happening in your life. Sometimes, depending on what's happening, conversations can go different ways. We are never off. We are a 24/7 Better Lives coach around here at JBM, but it's actually really awesome.
Working with the gentlemen in our apprenticeship program, I'm really building a foundation of trust with them from day one. From the time we do their interview, we're going into things that happened in their past, and I make them feel comfortable and at ease to talk about it, because I always start off with, hey, there's no judgment on my part. I've been to prison. I have felonies on my background. I'm a person in recovery. So do you mind to share a little bit about yourself with me and, what happened in your life to get you to this point right now? And, most of them, they're like, no way, you've been to prison, or you have felonies on your background and you're in the position that you are now. And I'm like, yeah, and you can be too. So we immediately bond from that first interview. And then, if they are selected for the position, I come up there and present them with an offer letter.
When leaving incarceration, individuals face countless barriers that most of us never consider.
Obviously JBM is the cream of the crop. They're the apex of what reentry really looks like. They're the backbone. They're saying, hey, these are the opportunities we have for you. Here at JBM, I might have them 6 months, maybe a year at best. And so to see them grow is very inspiring. It's very rewarding. It's my life of amends. It's like, I'm a credible witness to what things can happen in it if you put the work to it. And to see these guys to embrace that, what JBM's offering, it only drives me. It allows me to get out of that rack, because it's really easy to lay in a rack and just give up, cave in. And the longer you do, they say it's easier to do. I disagree with it. Each year it gets more harder. Loved ones pass away. People quit getting contact with you. And so again, having Jackie and Amanda to stay in contact, to come in here once a month or whatever time they give us, it's amazing. That's another thing that JBM offers, is having these people come in here and install hope in us, pick us up, when we're down, to be able to motivate us and say, hey, what do you need? And that's just, a lot of people don't do that. JBM's doing that.
People that have been incarcerated, when they are transitioning back to society, they have so many barriers when it comes to finding employment. Overall, some of the biggest challenges that I see people go through, like I was talking about earlier, is building that self-worth, building that self-confidence. When you're incarcerated, you get behind. Society, technology, everything advances so quickly these days that when you get out, it's like a whole different world.
So some of the challenges that we see when people come out of incarceration is one, just how to use a cell phone. Sometimes we take that for granted, right? When you think of people who have been incarcerated for, 10, 15, 20 years, technology is moving really fast right now. So, rent is higher, groceries is higher, transportation is challenging.
Having a felony record and not having a background for not working in so many years. I've seen other people that's in the halfway house that's been out for 2 or 3 months there, and they're still looking for work.
Unlike traditional prison programs, JBM's training program leads apprentices to employment upon release, creating a seamless bridge back to society.
Walking in the door on that first day, I was like, am I going to be judged? This is, here I am out of prison. What's going to happen? And people knew my name. People were welcoming. Everyone was here to help me. Yeah, it was, I don't think it's a feeling you get about anywhere else.
First, I was very nervous, scared, because after being locked up for so long. Then coming here and meeting the people, which part of me was terrified. I didn't know what to expect to be near the company, what's going on in my background record. And it was actually a surprise. They had the ones there. The dynamics are a little bit different because you're doing setups there, where here you're doing live runs and jobs. So there you would push about 1,000 envelopes through it. Here you push 100,000, and you have to, it's more technical to keep it running and as it is what it is just setting it up.
one thing I'll tell to everybody that comes to work at JBM is all we ask is that you can live our core values and help make this place better.
We definitely dug into the core values of the company, which at the time, those 6 words really didn't mean much. They were just 6 words on a card. And it really had grit, collaboration. We had to have the growth mindset, and we were able to just help each other grow. Without the support of JBM coming down there, none of it would have been possible. I guess you hit a point of being sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I know that my family, myself, I could have a better life, but I had to believe myself and find not just a person, but a company that believed in me.
When they come out of London and they already have folding experience, they know the language, and it makes my job easier because they know this stuff already. So 6 weeks training someone that went through the program, and then probably 6 months if it was someone off the street.
Some of the ways that I help prepare some of our team members coming from London, they come in and they have to do life coaching once a week for a half an hour. And so, we really start by just getting to know the individual. Then once we kind of have that conversation, we really move into understanding like how they're doing mentally, physically, emotionally. And then we move into like, what are their supports look like, and how can we strengthen those supports to help them, here on the outside. And then we also talk about just past problems that they've had in their lives. What were some of the triggers that they had, so that we can kind of mitigate those situations. So if something arises, while they're out, they know how to deal with it and they don't repeat the same pattern of behavior as before. And then lastly, we go on to, what are their short-term and long-term goals. Short-term goals we usually focus on for the first 6 months, and then long-term goals, go on much further than that.
I had a good mindset when I was leaving. This made it so much easier. There was one less hurdle I had to jump to, like no job search, and walking in a week out of prison and I had a job. I'm able to plan for my future and work towards goals that I've set.
We've been pleasantly surprised of who's joined our team and has made the business better. The biggest one for me right now is I'm really excited to get the production work going in there. As soon as we can do that I think will allow us, in my opinion, a really good opportunity to bring more equipment into the prison.
For other industries or other companies that would want to do something similar, it's a long process, okay? You really need to start up front by really, having the ability to have a second chance program within your facility, because it's not beneficial to go within the prisons and do training if you're not going to be able to hire those individuals upon re-entry. So there's a lot of things that happen outside of our 4 walls. Everything that happens outside the 4 walls comes with a cost and a time commitment. So you have to be prepared to be able to invest in that, as well as the physical equipment, and establish those relationships to be able to set up a program within the prison.
Big picture for me, as soon as I get out of prison, obviously come work for JBM for many years, hopefully. As much as I can grow into the company, that's what I want to do.
JBM's Fair Chance program has successfully employed more than 125 individuals who have experienced incarceration over the last 7 years.
So the JBM Apprenticeship Program is such a phenomenal program because we're able to provide amazing opportunities for people that are incarcerated. While they're getting towards the end of their sentence, we're able to bring them into the program, train them up to be what's called an adjuster at JBM, and then give them the skill set they need to be successful. And then once they're released, they come to JBM, they have a job immediately upon release from incarceration, which is amazing.
Nobody wants to be judged on their worst day, and for us, Fair Chance has just been a great success for us.